Yeah, we're back for round 3 now. Round 3. Let's go to this waiting message. So we have Nick on the right, and we have Robbie on the left. Robbie and Nick venturing into the red zone. Both these players, this is still table 1 technically, so both these players are 2-0. 2-0 going to round 3. I don't know what preview card to have up here because we don't know what decks they're playing, but we'll find out very soon. Looks like Nick is on blue-black froggy. Is that main deck consignment memory? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Consignment memory, my favorite card from MH3. A lot of fun stuff this card does. It's almost a stifle, but also ceremonious rejection. Half stifle, half ceremonious rejection. So, you know, still lots, still a lot of value on that. I don't know how much you heard there, Taryn, but yeah, we're just chatting about the energy matchup and some fun lines and interactions, especially against the frog matchup, which we might be seeing from Nick. Looks like Robbie is on a Rhinos pile. I think I saw a Cascade card. But I mean, could be living in. I'm not sure what deck Nick would be playing main deck consigned memory to. I mean, I'm a consigned memory enjoyer, and I play main deck, but I don't know if he's on Stifle Not. So yeah, looks like we got Domain Rhinos in the docket again. What do you know? Domain Rhinos making a comeback. Yeah, there's Shardless, there's Rhinos. I think I saw Kozilek's Command in Nick's hand. So I really don't know what deck he's on here. But just land pass. Consigned memory, very good against Cascade. Lets you either counter the Cascade trigger, or if it has Suspend, you can counter the final Suspend trigger and leave it stranded in the Exile Zone. And there is Suspended Rhinos for Robbie. I mean, I've seen a bunch of Nick's deck now, and I still don't know. So he is on Frog. So it looks like UB Frog, actually. Dimir Frog. Dimir Frog for Nick versus Domain Rhinos. I think Dimir Frog should have a pretty good matchup against Rhinos. They play a lot of interaction, a lot of counter spells. But I think it's kind of going to come down to, can Robbie resolve a Crashing Footfalls? Gonna put Froggy in the bin. Interesting. There's Consider off the top. Does Nick need a land? Preordain. Looks like Nick does need a land, which is why he binned the frog there. Those don't look like lands. Those both go to the bottom. And last look here, that's not it. Does he have land in the back there? No, it's just a pass. Oh. Look, we saw it work out for Liam earlier today, but now we're seeing here someone getting sucked in by their own hubris. The one land Preordain. Draw, still not a land. What is that, actually? That's Surveil, I guess? Or Consider? Well, Nick found the land, I guess, so finally got there. Gonna fetch, probably gonna Surveil again. Get a Surveil land here to try to find another land. Because, I mean, he's pretty desperate to be making land drops here after missing one. And these footfalls, they are coming. right, well, just jam froggy. Jam froggy pass. Robbie has no response. So frog in play, but I mean, technically frog can block some rhinos for a couple turns. You just got to discard 4 cards. Attack for 1 damage. No, Robbie's one missing land drops. Stuck on 2, so can't cascade. Has a binding in hand, but unfortunately he only has 2 land types, or 3 land types in play. Discard Cling to Dust to buff the froggy. Fatal Push, honestly not terrible here. And there's a Watery Grave. Shocking down. And here comes the first footfalls. Draw off the top. Is it a land for a Cascade spell or a land for a land binding? Can't play binding, can't play Scion. Passing it back over. Nick's just going to consider again. Fatal Push a Rhino, Fatal Push another Rhino. I mean, hey, double Fatal Push. Technically gets there. This frog might just take over the game, actually. Put in the Polluted Delta and attack for 2. Discard Spell Snare. Yeah, Spell Snare, not doing a whole lot in this matchup. Gonna hit Robbie for 3 instead. Draw a card. There's Bowman. So even after the rough start from Nick, he's looking like he's in a pretty commanding position. Now that he's hit his land drops and able to hold up the value of the frog. The frog. But yeah, it turns out if there's only one about Magic the Gathering, it's that drawing 2 cards per turn is a very strong. Harbinger, just turn off your lands, I guess. Keep up Swamp. And here comes 2 more Rhinos. Frog very ready to be jumped here. Here comes an island for Robbie. Pass it back. The 3rd Fatal Push for another Rhino. So hard part is that if Nick can just swing, if he doesn't care about drawing the card immediately, and then if Robbie has to block, he has to discard 1 card to pump the Rhino. He's going to exile some cards to jump the frog, actually. Frog jumping. Jump over top of... There's just some animal planning going on here. We have frogs, we got rhinos. I don't know what that merfolk is doing over there. We got fish. It's like kind of a fish person. Draw a card, another Bowmasters. Draws fistful of unplayables, and all right, another island for Robbie, and he's just going to scoop it up, actually. He's seen enough. Down to 9. And Nick takes a pretty easy game 1 here. Pretty surprising, honestly, considering he stumbled on lands off of the 1-land preordain and was not punished for it, which is, I'm all for gamers getting punished for a 1-land preordain. Looks like 4 cards, 4-card exchange coming for Robbie's sideboard. I don't know what they would be when it comes to Rhinos. Could just be like 4 Mystical Disputes. That's probably a pretty good card in this matchup. Nick obviously taking out his Spell Snare, so doesn't do a whole lot in this against the deck with no 2-drops. Probably wants to take out some number of Fatal Pushes. They were good in that game, but they're on average not very good when you need 2 cards to counter the 1 card. You need double Fatal Push to counter 1 Rhinos. So Fatal Push probably not the strongest play. Also misses Sign of Draco completely. A lot of cards coming out for Nick. A lot of cards coming in for Nick. Looks like we got Surgicals. I would be surprised to see maybe some Chalices in there, perhaps an Engineered Explosives. A lot of good choices, honestly, in the blue-black pile. So Mystical Dispute, probably not Dispute actually, but could see Spell Pierce, could see additional Force Negations come in. But both players on their opening 7. I think Nick's keeping. Yeah, they're both keeping 7. All right. Robbie, since he lost last round, he is on the play. Psychic Frog is the name of the game here. There's the froggy. One froggy. Froggy boy. And there's Footfalls. So, very familiar opener from Robbie here. Just fetch shock Footfalls. Nick, no land issues this time, it looks like. Just going to play Island Pass. Footfalls takes down. So I think Robbie would really like to see a... I mean, I guess he can't Scion. So it's just going to be land pass, it looks like. Here comes Watery Grave. Shocked in Watery Grave for Nick, so holding up Counterspell, holding up Bowmasters, possibly. But we know his hand, so we know it's holding up Counterspell. This is kind of a critical turn, really, when it comes to the Cascade decks, is that Robbie gets to go and fetch for a land, perhaps a Surveil land here, or maybe even a Triumph if he wants to try to cheat in a Scion on this turn. But 3 mana giving access to the Cascader. Pretty important. So yeah, here comes Triumph for Domain. Robbie decides he is not going to respect Harbinger of the Tides, even though, or Harbinger of the Seas, sorry. Harbinger of the Tides is a different card completely. Harbinger of the Seas. Yeah, just disregard that card completely. And there's Arid Mesa. And here is where I would suspect Slam Cascade Spell. So you gotta really push Nick's resources. And Robbie, learning from his mistakes, grabs the planes here off of this next fetch. So has some insulation from Harbinger. Can at least still resolve a Leyline Binding. Teferi. Spicy, but that's still gonna be the counterspell for sure. And just ship it back over. So now does Nick just jam Harbinger here is the question. I think he is, so probably fetch for a swamp. There's the swamp. So Swamp does heavily indicate that Nick is going to slam the Flood Moon. There it is. But Robbie, not so locked out this game, still has Rhinos ticking down. And fully able to cast Ardently here. I don't believe there is a lot of living in, really. Teferi is a bit of a strange one. I think Robbie is just playing Teferi as the kind of make my Cascade spells uncounterable now. And I mean, Teferi also plays pretty well against Frog and Murktide, which he probably anticipates Nick being on. That's quite a large Cascade. Look at that pile. It's like half of Robbie's deck. So I don't know if Teferi is necessarily good enough for shutting off counterspells, but I mean, yeah, the downtick on Frog or Murktide or even Harbinger of the Seas isn't terrible. But here comes the 4/4s. You know. Also, yeah, having Plains is a basic that Robbie wants to fetch anyway because of Leyline Binding, and Teferi being able to cast through it. Yeah, there could be that there's just better sideboard options, honestly, for Robbie to play, but I don't hate Teferi. But because I mean, Teferi is just a generally good card, even if it's not a just like slam dunk kind of card. It is still pretty generically good. Now, does Nick play Frog or does he hold up Hardcast Force? I think you can pretty safely just jam Frog here. Yeah. So now Robbie's in a bit of a weird spot. So yeah, Nick just forces the second set of Rhinos. And now, yeah, so Robbie's in a weird spot here where... Or Nick has 2 cards left now, so actually not a hard spot. He can just jam for 8 damage. You can just disrespect the frog here, just jam for 8. But if Nick hadn't have forced, then he gets to chill with frog and make it a 4/5 if he needs to. But I mean, against 4 4/4s, maybe that plan isn't very good. So yeah, push on 1 Rhino definitely reduces the clock here. And ooh, Murktide. Murktide is certainly very good here. Yeah, we got the full value Murktide, I believe. No. 1 short of full value. So we have a 6x Murktide instead of a 7/7. Oh wait, no, is it 7/7 or 8/8? What's Murktide's base power toughness? Murktide. It's a 3/3 for 5. Okay, so yeah, it's 1 short, 1 short. Get these frickin' bots out of my chat, bro. Banned. 3/3 base. Okay. Banned. Be gone. So Robbie might just be dead to Murktide, and that is it. Dimir Frog taking a very quick 2-0 here against Domain Rhinos. Wow, game 1 I did not expect for it to go so clearly in Nick's favor there, but sometimes you keep 1 land preordained and you get punished a little bit, but you don't get punished quite enough because the rest of your deck is just too good. Frog, pretty crazy card, honestly.